Hey everyone, Asha here. In this video, we're gonna kind of go over Maehwa Succession. We're gonna we're gonna do a good, the bad, and the ugly, essentially, that we're kind of looking at here with the Succession kit. This video is mostly for the player base as a whole, but also the devs. It's primarily focused towards the devs because I really would appreciate them looking at this. Um, there is a forum post that I posted not too long ago. Um, I'm gonna make it visible here, but it's under the suggestions. It's Maehwa Succession Community Suggested Changes. Um, this is basically where the CMs and GMs constantly ask you to put stuff whenever you have suggestions for class changes or um, what you feel needs to be fixed on it. They want you to get people's opinion across the board, which, in all honesty, I think is the dumbest idea. Let me tell you what happens for any CMs or GMs that are going to listen to this in devs. I want you to think about this for just a second. You want class specific changes that are being requested to be put on a neutral suggested forms. Now it's intended to be neutral, right? And I get that. It sounds great on paper. But what you get is you usually get a whole bunch of trolls that go on here that say, "Oh, Chase is OP, right click and you win," or some stupid freaking comment like that. You get some ridiculous responses from players that have no clue what they're talking about. Literally, the most useless suggestion you could do is put something on the suggestion forms, to be honest. That said, moving on, I'm going to attempt to do what they ask anyways, put this post on the suggestion forums because frankly, I'm trying to use every resource humanly possible to get the devs' attention. I've done it on the class forums, done it on suggestion forums, done it on Global Labs. I submitted feedback on there multiple times between both retail and Global Labs. Um, we were getting some feedback before in the form of changes that were related to what we were asking for, so that was nice, but they have since stopped. Probably due to their other content that they're releasing, as well as the other successions that they're working on. All understandable. The problem is this kit is unpolished. And this is where we get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, the good. We'll start off with the good. The good is this kit does a lot of damage. It's very satisfying and rewarding. The damage feels good across multiple skills. Not all skills, but pretty much most skills deal some really, really good damage. Um, and it's nice because you actually feel like an assassin class. You feel like I can use even a broken combo to kill someone, like a combo that should not actually kill someone, and it's nice. That's good. That means no matter what my cooldown situation is, I could probably pull off the kill, depending on the target's DP, mind you. So if you're fighting lower geared players, you'll kill anyone basically, no matter what, with whatever you use. Higher geared players, it's understandable. You kind of need proper combos, blah blah blah. So now we established what the good is. The good is that it's a new style. The PVE is actually really good. Once you get used to it, it's a little wonky at first. Not every player likes it, and it's understandable. Some like the Awakening style, and that's fine. The problem is most players actually started off playing Maehwa from the Awakening perspective, so they have no inkling or clue as to how the blade style is or was previously. Um, Most experienced Maehwa players or even Musa players, they actually, if they had experience with the pre-awakening kit in the past, and then got better at the kits, they started using pre-awakening again, even in the awakening state, because it's just really useful for catches and stuff like that. It's a good initiation type kit. The only thing it lacked was damage, which is what the awakening kits would fill in for. Um, so it wasn't such a big transition for me as far as like learning how to utilize it. There's some key issues, but whatever. But overall, it's really nice. The blade style is really nice. The PVE with all the damage and everything makes it really nice. It's really good. Um, the decap spam is a little freaking wonky, and we'll get into that. But once you get the actual red blade buff, it makes PVE super nice. Um, so yeah, those are the pros. A lot of damage. You can kill people really quickly and effectively, and the PVE is really good once you get used to it. And yeah, so that's basically the goods. The bads, the uglies. The bads is some of the skills are wonky, like the red blade mechanic. The red blade mechanic is wonky. It's the activation in theory on paper sounds great. You spam decap 3 times in combat. Each time you use it, you get a little buff indicator, like this. It turns blue, and it lasts for 12 seconds. Then it turns yellow, lasts for 12 seconds. Then it goes red, lasts for 10 seconds. And during the red state, you can use different versions of your normal abilities, which is a cool concept. It's great on paper. The problem is spamming decap 3 times is honestly, it's silly. And it's even sillier when you look at how classes like Musa's succession is. Now, this is not to rant and rave and say Musa got the better end of the stick, like they do every time, blah, blah, blah. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying this is a very unpolished mechanic. I know I originally pressed for it to be 3 seconds before, because originally it was 6 seconds, or 6 stacks. I'm sorry, not 3 seconds. 3 stacks. I originally pressed it for being 3 stacks before, because that's what the community was kind of asking for, but we were still kind of getting used to it as well. It was originally at 6 stacks. Could you imagine spamming decap 6 times just to get to the red blade effect? It was really, really, really ridiculous. And 3 times is still ridiculous. It's not realistic in PvP. It's not realistic at all. It's a very wonky mechanic. It needs to be reworked. Honestly, they need to leave it as is, but add in other skills that can give you the stacks, or add other skills that give you the stacks, and then have decap as the way to activate it to go into red blade buff. This is basically Ghost Style was kind of giving me this idea, but I kind of molded it a little bit more. Basically allow other abilities to give you the stacks, and then decap as the activator, but when you decap with it at 3 stacks, or whatever stack they decide to choose, that it makes decap super armor. This makes decap more useful, and you can actively fill this into your combos too, because say D-Bite gives you a stack, and Stigma gives you a stack, or 4 Blind Thrust, or Sticky Snowflake gives you a stack. That would be really nice. And that would actually make more sense, because it would be more fluid combat. Now, I know this would be an impact on PvE. That would make PvE probably extremely strong. But that's something to be looked at. But for PvP, it would make more sense and be more fluid. That red blade mechanic needs to be reworked badly. It just doesn't make sense. So that's in the bad category. Some of the other bads is Stigma not being able to be canceled is pretty awful. In Awakening, you can actually cancel it. So that basically you can actually cancel Chase with Stigma, so it kind of gives you a short counterplay. And then for the actual Stigma stab itself, which is unprotected, in Awakening, you can cancel that. So you could actually do a fake, like a feint, so to speak, with your Stigma, and then go straight into Super Armor Chase to help protect yourself. So you can use it as like a mobility or a potential counterplay, but you decided to back off that idea because maybe they're doing something that might CC you. It could help you prevent damage, get you out of a situation because Stigma doesn't cost stamina. So yeah, there's a lot of potential with it. But in Succession, you can't do that. The earliest you can cancel it is after the stab, and it's a long stab at that. And when you it doesn't seem like it's long, but when you include fast-paced combat, and then on top of that desync, it widens the gap of when that opening is available. And it may not seem like it's impactful, but that is huge in competitive PvP. I'm sorry, people that will come out and say, "Oh, having competitive PvP and BDO is a joke, anyways." Blah blah blah. Esports ready, like I play this game to PvP. A lot of people play this game to PvP. That's kind of what the point of the game is, besides the PvE grind. It's all about progression of power and to use that power. Where do you use it? PvP. It wasn't the original design of the game. The original design of the game was just to be a world that you basically grinded in forever, getting gear and amassing power and doing more grinding. They later added PvP, but it's become an essential role to how this game functions. Everything revolves around the PvP at this point in time. So to say that, you can't have competitive PvP is a fucking joke. So shut up with that bullshit. All right, so Stigma is awful. It needs to be fucking reworked. And Sticky Snowflake having a long ass fucking cooldown. It makes no damn sense whatsoever. Sticky Snowflake, it's a 15-second super armor. Why? Why is it a 15-second super armor? Why is it 15-second cooldown period even in Awakening? Like, where's this stupid skill? Right here. Why is it 15 seconds? For a 20 movement speed debuff and a 20 attack speed debuff. With 100% accuracy that we can spam anyways. Why is it 15 seconds for this? I don't understand. I don't understand. There's so many more classes out there that have no costs or anything attached to their super armor abilities that are under 10 seconds. Yeah, I don't understand why this is 15 seconds long. This needs to be reduced. At minimum, 10 seconds, please. I have multiple people that I tell them this stuff, and they're like, wow, that's 15 seconds for that? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, that's insane. I have this ability that's like 5 seconds, and I have no stamina cost or anything attached to it. I'm like, yeah, this is the kind of shit I deal with. So this needs to have its cooldown reduced. It's a great skill. I love what you guys did with it in Succession, but Christ almighty, reduce the cooldown. This is actually insane. But, moving on. Some of the other bads is the Whirlwind Cut, which technically goes into the ugly state, but I'll kind of mention it here in the bad. Because it actually has some utility, but it's attached to stamina, which is where the ugly comes in. Whirlwind Cut. This ability is awesome. I like what they did with it. They took a normal-ish ability, they turned it into a super armor with a 5-second cooldown. This is good. This is how a super armor ability for Maehwa should look. Great idea. Then you decide to kick us in the fucking teeth with it. You take the 3 swings and you add a 100 stamina cost to each one of them. And then on top of that, if you notice, I'll drain my stamina down. You guys decided to fucking develop this so that it stops stamina regeneration while you're in linger state. Why? So the whole time, if I'm doing this, I am not regenerating stamina. Why? But I'll get back into that in a minute. That gets into the ugly. Forward blind thrusts in the succession tree. It lacks connectivity with the CC and the smoothness when you stab. You can't cancel into chase right away like you can in pre-awakening. This is how the pre-awakening looks. It looks really smooth. You can stab. It connects really well as long as you aim it properly. And then that's your engage. It's unsafe, but it's fair. It's unsafe because it's fast and it CCs. I'm okay with that. That's perfectly acceptable. That's balance. That's understandable. However, this, however, does not function the same. The only thing that should be different is instead of it doing a stiffness on the forward stab, it does a stun. That's all that should be different. That and some damage. But there's actually a connectivity issue for some reason. I cannot do it as smoothly as I can forward blind thrust. Why? I'm not going to even bother buying pearls just to demo it, but because you guys really aren't showing me that you're needing my money by developing unpolished work. But this needs to be fixed. It's clunky to use. I actually unlearned the damn thing so I could just use the better one. And that's a stiff. I'd rather have the stun. I think the stun would be better. Especially for follow-ups. Because it is actually good for follow-ups. Say you get a D-bite stab or a stub arrow stab. Doing a 4-blind thrust for a stun to follow up with is actually good. But it just doesn't function properly. So I prefer to use something a little bit more consistent. The other bads are the blooming hardcast animation. Why is this still in the game? Why? Remove the iframe from blooming out of the game. I'm sorry. It's garbage. Like, that, I probably won't be able to do it on demand right now. That was actually the normal fast cancel version. Which makes no sense. Why can't I do the cancel version when I'm just standing still, but yet in a combo it does a hardcast? Why? This is the hardcast. That animation should be removed. Get rid of it. It's fucking trash. The iframe sucks. It super telegraphs what's happening. Anyone with an inkling of a brain can CC you right as soon as you're about to do the stab. Or the slash with blooming. Sure, they might take the damage, but they won't die from it. They'll CC you and then you'll die. It's just... It's so silly. It shouldn't be in the game. It's so easy to accidentally do it. You have to purposely do cancels in order to not do it. And you shouldn't need to. Like, that iframe is garbage. Remove it. Remove it. Just remove it. Everything else about blooming is great. I love everything else about it, but that fucking hardcast triggers the shit out of me. Yeah, I said I wasn't going to rant, but I'm ranting all throughout this video, so fuck it. Red Moon, the cooldown. You guys increased it to 9 seconds from 7 seconds. And then you swapped the cooldown from decap from 9 seconds to 7 seconds. Or, I'm sorry, Red Moon, you guys increased the cooldown from 7 seconds, normally, to 9 seconds. So here's the cooldown normally. 7 seconds. 7 seconds. And then for Succession, you gave it 9 seconds. Why? For what reason? Because you had to swap around decap's cooldown? Why? No one wants to spam this. This is garbage to use. Even with the mechanics. It's only viable to use the first time. After that, the damage gets reduced significantly on cooldown, so it's not really that useful to use multiple times. So I don't understand that. Give Red Moon back its 7-second cooldown. We need that frontal guard. This kit is dying for frontal guards. We have more super armors, which is great. We needed them really badly. But then you're taking away and crippling some of our frontal guards in the process. We already don't have C-swap. We don't have S-block. You know, like we're missing a lot here. We don't have what the Awakening gives us in terms of frontal guards. We don't have Frost Pillars. We don't have Tip of the Iceberg. And that's fine. But we need our frontal guards. This needs to be lower cooldown. This needs to be 7 seconds, like it was originally. It was comfortable. It was fine. I don't see the reason why they did that, other than that they wanted to swap decap with Red Moon in terms of cooldowns, because they planned on using decap a lot more, which is fine. But there's no reason to nerf Red Moon's cooldown. The other thing is, this one, we could probably take a pass on if they fix all this other shit, but why did you guys hidden nerf Ascension to Heaven? Like, I don't understand this. This was week 1 of Succession. I want you to watch what I do to this Musa with Ascension to Heaven. Instantly deleted him from 60% health with Ascension to Heaven. That is exactly how Musa Blaze works right now. Exactly how Musa Blaze works. And now what it does, I'll show you what it does. This is what it does now. It's laughable. This is what it does now. I want you to watch his health. That's Red Moon, and then that's what Ascension Heaven does now. What is that? Why? It's unprotected. It does a float, sure. It's unprotected. Why does it not deal damage? Like, at least if you're going to remove the damage, make it super armor. Give it something. It needs attention. It's fucking awful. Like, look at this. When I seen this, I was like, oh, that's great. It's unprotected. I can get punished for using it, but you know what? It's fantastic. Because it means I can punish someone that's spamming super armor abilities and trying to fucking just sit there and just wait for me to make a mistake. I can punish them hardcore. And here's another kicker, too. The Moose's range, when they use it with the their version of the Red Blade buff, but it's their blue Musa face thing. I don't know what it's called, I forget. But they increase the range that Blaze reaches, and it's super armor. It's like, what? It has a larger cone damage. It makes no sense to me. I don't know where the devs are thinking that that's okay. I don't understand it. I do not understand it. It's just is weird. But like I said, I could forego this if they fix the remaining issues of what I'm talking about here. And this is where we get into the ugly. The ugly is the stamina costs. The stamina costs on this kit are so bad. Like, when I tested in Global Labs, I was under the assumption that, okay, I have only 2200 stamina because I could only get so much because of how the characters that they let us make are. I couldn't beef it up to what my retail stamina is, so it kind of felt like, you know what, maybe with an extra 500, 600, 700 stamina, I would be okay. It would be manageable. I could figure it out from there. No. I was totally mistaken. I actually did not anticipate the stamina costs being as bad as they are. And to top it off, you can't help recover that very easily because you don't have an S block. Like Kuno Succession does. Which, why does Kuno Succession have a fucking S block? But whatever. Let's go over the abilities here. So, we got Whirlwind Cut that doesn't... It allows you to linger, but doesn't regenerate stamina. So like I showed earlier, it costs 100 stamina per swing. Per swing. And then it doesn't even let you regen while you're lingering. So that's one major issue right there. D-Bite has 150 stamina costs every 3 seconds, which is one of our main engages, so we're constantly spamming that. Blind Thrust costs 100 stamina on use. Right now I'm using the absolute one, so I'm restricted to the 6-second cooldown, but in Succession you can spam it. So it's easy to spend 100 stamina here and there multiple times with Blind Thrust. Carver costs 120 stamina. It's a combo ability. Maybe a counter engage ability, but a combo ability. Why? Why are my combos gated by stamina? Hell, Divider doesn't have stamina costs, and that shit's garbage. Like, no one wants to use this skill. This skill needs love. I don't even know what to do with this thing. Just delete it, I guess. The only skills that don't have stamina, which are actually relatively useful in terms of what they do, Decap doesn't have stamina costs, but that's not really that great in PvP. PvE, that's fine, whatever. It can be good at times, but in very specific situations. Red Moon doesn't have a stamina cost, thank fucking god. Relatively good ability. Blooming doesn't have a stamina cost, thank god. Amazing ability. That fucking hard cast needs to be removed. Stigma doesn't have a stamina cost, great, but it has its fundamental flaw with how you can't cancel that fucking thing out of anything. You can't cancel Chase with it. You can't have Chase cancel it like you can in Awakening. Like, why? It's great that it doesn't cost stamina. We fucking need more movement abilities that don't have stamina costs. Sticky Snowflake doesn't have stamina costs. That's great, fantastic. So we have 3 abilities right here that chain together that don't have a stamina cost. That's great. We use them within a second. It's like done. Okay, there goes half my non-stamina kit. Like, what? 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 Like, everything else then costs stamina. Carver, Blind Thrust, D-Bite, Whirlwind Cut, Blind Slash, another combo ability. This is a combo ability. Why is it gated by stamina? It has no super armors. It just floats and does air attack damage. And it has an 8-second cooldown at that. Why is it gated by stamina? 100 stamina cost for it. Charge Stub Arrow. When you hold it, cost stamina. You know, it's just like, what? Charge Stub Arrow has its own issues. Like, this... this ability. That and Divider, I feel like, just need to be removed. But, whatever. And then everything else is just like the passes and whatnot. So let's get into the pre-awakening kit. The other pre-awakening items that we have to use on a regular basis. So, Backstep Slash is very risky to use nowadays because all the successions deal fucking super armors with CCs and lots of damage. So it's kind of hard to use now. Very specific scenarios to try to weave it in. Musa has a super armor version. Their super armor version is fucking amazing because it has no collision or anything. Very good skill for them. I would love to see that as well, but that's asking for a carbon copy, and I don't necessarily want a carbon copy, but I would love to have it. But another combo ability, gated by stamina. Absolute roundhouse kick. 200 stamina cost for a kick. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, really? Are you serious? 200 stamina cost. 200. No, that's 100 actually. 200. So almost every single kick has a 200 stamina cost around it, except for blunt kick, which is garbage anyways. No one wants to use blunt kick. No one wants to use sweep kick. Upper kick, there's an argument for, but no, I wouldn't want to use that either. The only reason is because it has a faster animation, kind of accidentally float someone if you're lucky. It's just like, what? What is going on? Why do you guys think that these stamina costs are so okay? I do not get it. We chase all the time for positioning. And chase has a stamina cost attached to it, obviously, as well. So, it's 50 stamina. And then it's 100 stamina. Or so it's 50 stamina when used off cooldown. And it's 100 stamina when used during cooldown. What do you think we primarily use this during? On cooldown. Because we only get one chase, that's off cooldown. Now everything else is on cooldown. So that's about 3 or 4, maybe 5, and if we chase cancel, probably 7 or 8 chases before our next cooldown's available. So we just spent 800 stamina to 1,000 stamina, or under, depending on how many chases. And I only have... how much stamina do I have? I have 2733. So I spent basically the better half of a third of my stamina just doing a little bit of positioning. That's before I even get to the part where I'm actually using engaged skills like blind thrust or D-Bite, blind thrust, whirlwind cut for super armor lingers, and then actually CCing my opponent. Once I CC my opponent, then I gotta spend stamina on combo abilities. It's like, what is going on? Fucking dying here. They really need to look at this kit. And this doesn't even just apply to Succession. This also applies to fucking Awakening too. It's not near as bad for Awakening, which is why a lot of players look at Succession and they're like, I love the damage, but the stamina costs are just awful and I can't deal with it. It's hard to manage. And it is. Even for experienced players. I find it hard to manage. I'm having to manage stamina twice as hard on Succession than I am on Awakening. And in Awakening, it's actually difficult to manage the stamina too. Your only saving grace is that you got Petal Bloom for movement. You got Stigma for backward movement, which has no stamina cost. And then Blooming Step. Those are the only saving graces. So, and S-Block. So, I mean, it's like... Devs, please, for the love of fucking God, stop dicking around with extra content focus on your classes, polish them up. Stop just spitting shit out. Stop spitting shit out. That's the reason why people get upset. You guys just spit out fucking content and you think that's just going to appease everybody. People want polish. They want the game to function well. The desync in this game is awful. I don't know what happened back in freaking May of 2019. Everything was fine. Some update hit, and ever since then, the servers have been dog shit. I don't know if there was a contract renewal and you guys, maybe Cacao used worse servers or what. I don't know. It's been dog shit, and that just compounds on everything. Like even in PvE, sometimes people are like super scared and at the ready with that V button. Thank God for V. And sometimes they got to use escape because after they use their V, they're getting that laggy desync shit again, where mobs are CCing them during super armors, or players are CCing them during super armors, or frontal guards, or iframes are failing. It's just, oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. But I'm getting off topic now. But this is my good, bad, and ugly for Succession. Anyone that's listened past this point, please make sure you go to the forum post. I'm going to use the full might of my social network, be it YouTube, Twitch, contacts in game, people through Discord, everything I can to try to get attention to this, because that's all I can do. I mean, I'm trying to be your guys' voice, so to reach these devs so that they can actually listen to us. I know they want to have constructive criticism. I want to give them constructive criticism. That's why I word everything the way I do in my forum posts. But the frustration is real, guys. You guys have got to look at this class. It needs a rework. Alright, I'm out.